Ken Curtis was a tall, handsome, smooth-singing Columbia cowboy.
Gunsmoke's Ken Curtis names the actors he hated most. You wouldn't expect it. Hook. When I first saw this title, I expected stories about shouting matches and lifelong enemies. That's not what I found. The truth is far more complicated, and honestly, much more human. Some of the people Ken Curtis was rumored to clash with were also the very people who helped make Gunsmoke a television legend. For millions of viewers, Ken Curtis wasn't just an actor. He was Festus Hagen, the scruffy deputy with the crooked hat, the unforgettable drawl, and the kind of loyalty you couldn't fake. Every week he wandered through Dodge City, looking like he had accidentally walked onto the set. Yet somehow, he always became the heart of the episode. What surprised me is that behind those easy laughs, Curtis spent years fighting a different kind of battle. Not with outlaws, with expectations, with writers, with producers, and sometimes with the people standing only a few feet away from him on set. But here's where the story gets interesting. Despite headlines claiming Curtis hated certain actors, very little evidence suggests he carried personal grudges. Most of the conflicts were about something Hollywood has struggled with forever: attention, creative control, and figuring out whose character mattered most. Let's start with the name almost nobody expects: Dennis Weaver. If you've watched the early years of Gunsmoke, you know Chester. Long before Festus appeared, Chester Good was Marshal Matt Dillon's trusted companion. Dennis Weaver made Chester unforgettable. The limp, the gentle voice, the kindness. Audiences absolutely adored him. When Weaver decided to leave the series after nearly a decade, producers faced a nightmare. How do you replace someone millions of viewers already considered family? The answer became Ken Curtis. But replacing a beloved character isn't like changing costumes. Fans compare every smile, every joke, every scene. Curtis wasn't really competing with Dennis Weaver, the man. He was competing with years of audience memories. That's a battle almost nobody wins overnight. Interestingly, there are no credible stories saying Weaver and Curtis disliked each other. Instead, the pressure came from the audience itself. Curtis had to prove Festus wasn't another Chester. He had to become someone completely different. Looking back now, it's amazing he actually pulled it off. Instead of copying Weaver, Curtis built an entirely new character. And eventually, Festus became just as iconic, maybe even more so for younger viewers. But once Festus became popular, everything inside the cast quietly shifted, and that's where Amanda Blake enters the story. Miss Kitty wasn't simply another character. She was one of the pillars of Gunsmoke from the very beginning. Smart, independent, confident. For years, she shared some of the show's strongest emotional scenes with James Arness. By the time Curtis joined the regular cast, Amanda Blake already knew everyone. She understood how the production worked. She had helped shape the identity of the series. Then Festus arrived. At first, he looked like comic relief.